You have probably already been tested by a woman who wanted you, and you walked right through that moment without knowing it happened. She asked, you answered, she decided, and you left thinking it was just a conversation. Today I'm showing you exactly what those two questions are and what she was really asking when she asked them. I'm Valerie, sex therapist and relationship counselor, and today I'm telling you what those two questions are, what she's actually asking when she asks them, and what your answer communicates to her at a level she probably couldn't even fully explain to herself. If you are new here, subscribe and hit the notification bell. This is exactly the kind of content I put out regularly, and you don't want to miss it. And this is what women say to each other. Now you're going to hear it too, okay? So before we get to the two questions, you need to understand why women test in the first place. Because once you understand the psychology behind it, the questions make complete sense. Now, when a woman feels drawn to a man, genuinely drawn, not just finding him pleasant company, she carries a specific fear alongside that attraction. The fear of being seen as too eager, too available, too easy to read. Women have been conditioned to believe that showing interest too directly makes them look needy. And needy is the one thing a woman who respects herself refuses to appear to a man she actually wants. So instead of declaring her interest, she probes for it. She asks questions that look innocent but are measuring something specific. And she watches your response. Not just what you say, but how you carry yourself when you say it. Hey, how present you are. How much awareness you bring to the moment. She is not collecting information. She is taking your emotional temperature. And here is the critical thing about this. She only does it once. Women almost never repeat the same emotional invitation twice. If you miss the moment, if you answer at face value, and the energy goes flat, she does not try again. She files the experience away as a closed door, and she adjusts her picture of you accordingly. Now, here is why this matters even more for men over 50. When a woman, whether she is your age, younger, or anywhere in between, feels attracted to a mature man, her standard is higher, not harder, higher. She is not trying to discourage you. She is calibrating, because she assumes that a man who has lived this much life knows himself. She assumes he carries himself with some settled sense of who he is and what he wants, and she is drawn to that specifically, to the stability, the calm, the groundedness that younger men simply haven't had time to develop. But that same assumption cuts both ways. If she tests him and he comes back uncertain, drifting, empty, if he answers her questions like a man who has stopped thinking about what he actually wants from life, the attraction doesn't just pause. It dissolves. Because she needed him to be what she sensed he was, and his answer told her he wasn't. You see, women don't test men to catch them out. They test men to confirm what they already hoped was true. Alright, so here's the first question. She asked you some version of, do you spend a lot of time alone? It might come out as, do you usually go out by yourself? Do you keep to yourself mostly? Are you seeing anyone at the moment? You seem like someone who values their space. Is that true? The words vary. The question is always the same. And here's what she is actually asking underneath all of it. She is asking whether there is room for her. She is not asking about your calendar or your social habits. She is asking whether your life has emotional space, whether you are open or closed, available or walled off, inviting or quietly inaccessible. She has already pictured herself somewhere near your life, and now she is quietly checking whether that picture is possible. Now here is what most men do with this question. They answer it literally. Yes, I'm alone quite a bit these days. Or no, I stay fairly busy. Or it depends on the week. And the conversation continues. And she smiles. And nothing happens. And he never understands why. You see, what she was listening for was not the content of the answer. It was the energy behind it. She wanted to feel. Is he open? Is he warm? Is there something in the way he holds himself when he responds that tells me he would welcome me rather than tolerate me? A man who is closed, who answers that question with a kind of flat neutrality, or worse, with an undertone of emotional guardedness, tells her everything she needed to know. She backs away quietly and he never sees it happen. But a man who answers with ease, with warmth, with a kind of calm openness that says, I have my own life, I am settled in it, and I am genuinely open to the right company, that man lights something in her. He has confirmed what she was hoping. He has stepped onto the bridge she laid down and stood there with presence. So when she asks you this question, you are not answering a question about your schedule. You are communicating something about who you are. Stay calm. Stay warm. Let her feel that you are not grasping at company and not hiding from it either. Something like, I enjoy my own space, but I'm always open to the right person. Or, I have my life, but I don't close myself off from connection. And what you are telling her with that is simple. There is room, and I'm not desperate for it. That is the energy she was hoping to find. And once she feels it, she moves to the second question. Now, before we get there, I want to be clear about something. These two questions are not a test you pass or fail by saying the right words. They are a test of your actual presence, of whether you are genuinely awake to what is happening between the two of you. A rehearsed answer delivered by a man who isn't really there will not land the way a natural answer from a man who is fully present will. What she is measuring underneath both questions is the same thing. Is this man conscious? Does he feel the room? Does he carry himself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows who he is? Or is he moving through life on autopilot, saying words without inhabiting them? Women feel the difference every time. And for men over 50, that difference is not a small thing. It is often the whole thing. Now I want to pause for a second here, because what I'm about to share goes into territory that connects directly to everything this channel covers. How women think about intimacy, what they are actually evaluating when they decide whether to open to a man, and what the second question reveals about female desire that most men have never understood. I get into this in far more depth in Valerie Uncensored, my private newsletter, the unfiltered version of female psychology, desire, and what women want from older men specifically, things I can't go into fully here. Link is in the description. That's where the real conversation lives. Alright, back to it. So, the second question. She asks you some version of, what are you looking for these days? It might come out as, what do you want at this stage of your life? What direction are you moving in? What are you focusing on right now? What kind of connection are you hoping for? Again, the words vary. The question is always the same, and this one is more significant than the first. Because the first question was her checking whether the door is open. This question is her deciding whether to walk through it. Now here is why A woman only asks a man what he is looking for when she has already considered the possibility of being part of the answer. If she felt nothing for you, this question would feel far too personal, too revealing, too close to showing her hand. Women do not ask men they don't care about what they want from life. It's too intimate. It's too much of a signal. So the fact that she asks it tells you something important before you've even responded. She is asking because she wants to know whether the life you are building has space for her. Whether you're a man with direction or a man who has quietly given up on wanting things. Whether you carry yourself with the kind of inner purpose that a woman can feel drawn toward. Whether, in short, you are emotionally alive. You see, here is what women believe about men over 50 who have stopped moving. They believe that a man who has surrendered his direction, who lives in routine without intention, who says, I'm just taking each day as it comes in a way that sounds like resignation rather than peace, is a man whose inner life has gone quiet. And women do not open themselves to quiet men. They open themselves to men with warmth, with presence, with a sense that they are still becoming something. Now, most men answer this question literally. I'm just looking for some peace at this point. I'm not sure, really. I'm taking things as they come. And she hears all of that, and she smiles, and she files him away, and she moves on. What she needed to hear was direction. Not a life plan, not a vision board, just the sense that this man knows what he wants, that he is moving towards something rather than floating away from something, that his life has intention in it. So when she asks you this question, you are not giving her your 5-year plan. You are showing her that you are awake, something like, I am building a version of my life that has the right people in it and the right pace. Or I am looking for connection that feels genuine, not forced, something real. Or I am focused on living with intention at this stage, less noise, more meaning, and the right company. What she hears in all of that is, this man knows who he is. This man is going somewhere, and there is space for someone in that somewhere. That is what unlocks her interest now. And here is what you need to understand about the relationship between these two questions. They are not separate tests. They are one test delivered in 2 parts. The first question, do you spend a lot of time alone, measures your openness. Is he accessible? Is there room? Can I enter his world without forcing it? And the second question, what are you looking for? Measures your direction. Is he moving? Does he have an inner purpose? Is he the kind of man I can walk toward without feeling like I'm propping him up? And together, those 2 things are exactly what female attraction requires in a mature man. Openness and direction, availability and purpose, the sense that he is both welcoming and going somewhere. Now, a man who is only open, available, warm, but with no real sense of where he is heading, feels like a comfort, but not a pull. She might like him, she will not desire him. And a man who has only direction, purposeful, driven, but closed off and emotionally unavailable, feels impressive but not accessible. She might admire him. She will not approach him. The man who is both, who holds himself with the calm certainty of someone who knows what he wants and who carries genuine warmth and openness toward the right person. That man is rare. And women feel his rarity the moment they're in his presence. That is what those 2 questions are testing for. And now you know it. All right, let me leave you with something you can actually take with you. When a woman you are talking to asks you whether you spend a lot of time alone, pause before you answer. Not visibly, not awkwardly, but internally recognize what is happening. She is not making conversation, or she is checking whether the door is open, and your response is not about what you say. It is about the ease with which you say it, the warmth in your voice, the absence of either desperation or guardedness. She needs to feel that you're a man who is complete in himself and genuinely open to the right connection. And when she follows, whether in that same conversation or in a later one, with some version of what are you looking for these days, recognize that she is not prying. She is deciding. She has already felt drawn to you. She is now checking whether you are worth moving toward. And she needs to feel your direction, your intention, the sense that you know what you want from this chapter of your life. You do not need to perform for her. You do not need to have all the answers. You only need to be present enough to receive the question with awareness and answer it with the honest clarity of a man who has lived enough to know himself. That is what she is looking for. And now you know where she's looking for it. The men who get this right are not the most handsome or the most successful or the most interesting. They are the most present, the most aware, the ones who noticed what was really being asked. Be that man, and she will find her way to you. And if this video opened something up for you, if you recognized a moment from your own life in what I just described, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. I put out content like this regularly, and you don't want to miss it. Also, if you want to go deeper into female psychology, what women are really evaluating when they decide whether to open to a man, and what draws women specifically toward older men, that conversation is in Valerie Uncensored. Link is in the description. I'll see you there.